Hey, this is Dr. C. Welcome again. We're going to have a program today that's a little bit different. It's kind of labeled as an exercise program, and it is, but this is exercise for people with dementia. So basically, I'm going to be talking not just to people who have probably an early dementia who still can understand what I'm saying, but also I'm speaking to the caretakers as well. So let's talk a little bit first about dementia. This is not a program that's going to teach you about dementia. This is exercise in dementia. A lot of other parameters to talk about, but this is exercise specifically in dementia. Now in Shrewsbury, where we are, they say that 1 in 8 people have Alzheimer's. Well, when you really look into that number, remember in Shrewsbury, we have, at least according to the 2020 census, 27,086 people living in Shrewsbury. Now, if you took a portion of that, 1 out of 8, you'd wind up with 4,670 people with Alzheimer's, which is ridiculous. Of course it's not that. What they really mean is people who are over 60 or 65, depending on who you listen to. And therefore, out of that 37,000 people, you take out the kids who are in school. So we subtract a number from that. And basically in school right now, in Shrewsbury, we have 5,993 children. Now that's from preschool all the way through high school. So you subtract that from that number. And how many seniors are there in Shrewsbury? Well, again, not that easy to find out, but if you look into it a little bit, we used to say at the senior center there's roughly about 8,000 people in Shrewsbury who are over 60 years of age. And that's pretty darn close, pretty close. So that's what I would say would be a good figure to work with. That means that roughly there's about 1,000 people out there in Shrewsbury who have Alzheimer's. Now, Alzheimer's, yes, it's the most common cause of dementia. And remember, dementia is not a disease itself. Dementia is just a symptom of a disease. There are many different forms and causes of dementia. I know I went through it, not personally, but I went through it with a sister of mine, watched the whole progress of the dementia as she went through. She wound up with vascular dementia, which is the second most common cause of dementia. But let's continue to talk about Alzheimer's, because that's the one that's studied the most, and probably the one right now that they can do the least to actually physically treat the progression. And it is a progression. Many of the people who are out there, therefore, of those 1,000, are in the early stages of dementia. What are the early stages? And we're going to talk about early, mid, and late stages of dementia. The early stages of dementia, the hallmark of it, is a progressive loss of memory. So, and I'm not talking just forgetting your keys or the simple things like that. In the early stages, there may be simple things that you forget. In the later stages, you forget your car, never mind the keys, you forget where you live. The key won't do you any good if you don't remember where you live. Also, as part of that whole dementia picture, you have difficulty learning anymore. Learning is a real significant part of that progression of the dementia. Eventually, when you get to the middle and early late stages and all, you may actually begin to lose the ability to accomplish the activities of daily living, like eating and dressing, going to the bathroom, all of those common things that you have to do. that's when people wind up, unfortunately, either in a nursing home or in a dementia unit. And there are a very limited number of dementia units out there in the Shrewsbury area. And so I'm going to assume, and I'm probably pretty accurate, of that 1,000 people who are out there, many of them are at home and are being cared for by a caretaker. That is probably one of the toughest jobs in the world, being a caretaker. Have a whole program about helping that caretaker. But nevertheless, getting away from the subject, one of the principles of treating Alzheimer's is communication and exercise. Now, there are many other different things that go into this whole aspect of treating someone with dementia. We're going to focus in communication and exercise. How do you get someone with dementia to go through an exercise program? And there is a value to exercise in a dementia patient. What are those benefits? Well, all of the different studies, and there's hundreds of studies that have been done, all show that exercise, a regular exercise program, does slow down the progress of dementia. It's not a cure. Nobody said it was a cure, but it does slow down the progress. Number two, it improves the patient's balance. Number three, it gives the patient a little more sense of reassurance so that they can actively face whatever the issues are in their lives. So those are just some of the benefits of exercise. Usually people who exercise, who have dementia, who exercise, eat better and sleep better as well. So many different aspects are influenced by exercise. So if you're a caretaker, how do you get to communicate with that person to get them onto a regular program? Well, first, you have to know the program itself, and it's not a difficult program. These are not the most difficult exercises to do, but they are still very important for that patient with dementia. So you need to understand a program, and then you have to communicate with the patient, communicate with the person who has the dementia. That's not always the easiest thing in the world. One day may be totally different than the next. You never know when you walk in who that patient is going to be, what their mindset is. So you have to be prepared to deal with all sorts of different parameters of a mindset when you walk into a room on a daily basis. Patient may be angry, patient may be withdrawn, patient may want to go home, patient may wander, their mind may wander. All these things are possibilities. So you have to be aware of that. What you need to do at first is establish a trust, a relationship with that person. How do you do that? You maintain good eye contact. You smile. You look peaceful. You talk to them directly, slowly, articulate well. Sentences should be very brief. You should be able to describe your exercise in a sentence and then do it with them. Show them how to do this. One of the things that I really loved when I was over at the Shrewsbury Senior Center, I had a men's group, and we had a couple of people who had dementia who came to the group. They were brought by their caretaker. And this is exactly the way I ran the class. I looked at them, slowly articulated with them, put them at ease, did the exercise with them, All of these things are important. The milieu was very quiet. I didn't run these rock band videos or whatever, the music like that. You walk into a health club now and you got to put earplugs on because it's really difficult sometimes to hear somebody who's talking to you. Quiet. You want a quiet room. If you want peaceful music, put on some peaceful music. New Age type music. Classical music. Something soothing. The colors in the room should be on the temperate side, basically. Not loud colors. Quiet colors. Peaceful colors. The yellows and the blues. Also, temperature should be modified. You don't want it too hot, you don't want it too cold. You certainly aren't going to put a dementia patient into a yoga session that they run at 103.5 degrees. Definitely not a good place to be. Also, in the middle of winter, you don't want to have a cold room either. You want to have peaceful, moderate temperature, quiet room. You want to make sure that they have nice, easy to work in clothing on as well. So with those things in mind, let's go through some of the exercises that you can do for your program. First of all, a lot of the exercises that I'm going to show you are exercises that we do with a lot of our classes. But a lot of the exercises can be done with dementia patients as well. But in addition to the usual type of exercises that we do, we're also going to do stuff with both sides of the body, both arms, both legs, doing different things. That means a little bit of coordination in the body. We try to stimulate a little bit of coordination. Now, patient may not be able to do it. Never say or give them hell because they can't do it. No. You back off. Take step B, a little bit less. But still try to do some of those coordination exercises as well. Now, what do I mean by coordination exercises? Let me go through a couple of them for you. Very simple. You may have one hand on the thigh, palms facing up, and the other hand, palm facing down. And then you just switch, 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 just like that. Just a switch. Now, if this is easy for them, and this is one of the easier ones to do, you may add to that a little bit. You may do a 1 and a 1. I'm sorry. I think I have dementia. Oh, God. Okay. Switch, 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 switch. And then you do a 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then you alternate. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. In other words, you can do a whole series of combinations with that simple pronation, supination motion as well. Now you can involve other things as well. It's not just with the hands. You can do, for example, you can have them touch your nose. And with the other hand, touch the ear. And then nose, ear, nose, ear, nose, ear, nose, ear. And if that becomes easy for them to do, nose and ear, you may want to add something to it. Like, for example, when you touch your nose, you go for your ear, clap, and then an ear and clap, nose, ear, clap, nose, ear, clap. So you add things, makes them think a little bit, which is a good thing. You want them to make more connections in the brain. So those are examples of coordination exercises. Now we do some coordination exercises in our exercise classes, for example. Let me show you a couple of them. You may have seen that video I did with the dance moves, for example. And so we just go into what we call goal post, or whatever you want to call it, goddess position. And then you get the knees going, right, left, left, right, left, right, left. Now, basically, when the knees go to the right, you're going to go over to the left with the arms. Knees left, go right. Knees right, go left. And you can see that we can add, or you can have them go a little faster, and faster, and faster, and faster. Or you may have them when the knees go left and you go right, you come forward. Go forward, forward, forward. So you add on a little bit once they become accustomed to doing it. Another one that I like is I have them come a little bit forward on the chair. This is pure body exercise. You have the body, first of all, go to the left. Come forward. Right. Go back. Left. Forward. Right. Back. One more. Left. Forward. Right. Go back. And then you can add to that as well. You notice the hands are just on the knees. You can use the hands as well, so that when you come forward, you may want to raise an arm. When you go to the side, raise both. So depending on what series you want to use, you add to these things. Okay. These are all examples of the various coordination things. There's one that I particularly like, and again, we did that with the dance moves that we did. When the leg goes out to the left, we clap to the right. Clap, 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 clap. All those things use the various parts of the body in different motions. All good for coordinating. Now we also use it for some of our balance stuff as well. So in other words, you can touch a toe and then back. Toe, back, toe, back. And then you can alternate right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. And then you add to that. Toe, heel, back. Toe, heel, back. And then do it a little faster. Toe, heel, back. Toe, heel, back. Toe, heel, back. Heel, back. And again, you can see that there are possibilities to add to that as well. And then you can do some simple things like we do with our warm-ups, for example. Head and neck. Head and neck. A lot of the people who have dementia will develop postural problems. So one of the first things that I do when I talk to the people, I get them to do simple breathing techniques and posture exercises. First of all, breathing techniques. I try to tell them the difference between a yoga breath and a Pilates breath. Now the yoga breath, the abdomen comes out. In other words, the diaphragm comes down. You take a big breath in through your nose, hold it for the count of 2, and then slowly breathe out. The women will remember that. That's the kind of breathing they taught you at Lamaze, the breathing to kind of relax you so that you can focus on deliveries, for example. So that is a yoga breath. Very relaxing, those yoga breaths. You take about 3 good yoga breaths, and I frequently do if I go to the dentist, scares the crap out of me. I take a few good yoga breaths beforehand. No problem, well, no major problem then, you know? So yoga breathing. Now what about Pilates breathing? Pilates breathing is just a chest breath. So in other words, the belly, instead of going out, goes in with a breath in. Can't take as much in, just a pure chest breath, diaphragm in going down, but it's still, you tighten your belly muscle. In other words, you get more exercise with a Pilates breath. So breathing in, and then when you breathe out through your mouth, you really suck that belly way in. So breathing in, breathing out. Posture also, I try to teach them that right at the beginning. Now with posture, remember, you tighten up your muscles in the front, the muscles stretch and loosen up in the back, and you round the shoulders and you're like this, hunched forward a little. You don't want that. You want to combat that. So you want to get the muscles in the front to stretch, and you want to get the muscles in the back to get stronger. And when they get stronger, they'll pull you back to a good, normal posture again. So what do? Arms up, pull them back. 2, 3, and forward. Pull them back. 2, 3, and forward. Pull them back. 2, 3, and forward. Notice too that stretches the muscles in the front. What else can we do? Well, there's also the head that bends forward, so we do our head and neck exercises. Again, the same ones that we do in warm-up, but we do them in sequence. First of all, flexion and extension, nice and slow. Flexion, extension, flexion, extension. And now the second one, we turn our head to the left, to the right, and hold it, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. And now the third one, we touch ear to shoulder, left, right. See, that's a different, you're using different muscles. I'm a little tighter doing the stuff to the side. That's why we do several. We try to do about 5. They say if you can do up to 10, that's great. So left and right, and left and right. And now the fourth exercise for the head and neck is a rotation. So we go back, over to the left, forward, and back, and back. And now you go opposite direction, to the right, and to the right. And now the one that we add for posture, we just go jutting the chin out. Simple jutting that chin out. That gives you the sense that you can get a little taller, pulling that head, neck right up straight. Good. Now the next set are the shrugs. And don't minimize the shrugs. You'll notice that in a lot of the exercise programs you can see on TV, they will incorporate shrugs throughout their lesson. I like to do them all in a sequence. So in other words, arms out to the side, good posture, up, forward, and down. up, forward, and down, up, forward, and down. So you're going to do 5 or 10 if you can to do those, and then up, back, and down, up, back, and down, up, back, and down. And then the last one, we go straight up, big breath in through your nose, and then out. Straight up, and out. Straight up, and out. And now, a lot of the people with depression have a combination. Roughly 30% of people with dementia have depression. Some of them have significant depression. You can't ignore that. Depression is a disease. Dementia is not a disease, but depression is. Now, whether you agree or not with a lot of the antidepressants that the psychiatrist may give you, I don't particularly agree with a lot of them, but if you become a hazard to yourself or to someone else, not a bad idea to take an antidepressant. It may help you. It may help you. But still, you need to get the right antidepressant. So remember that, because 30% of people with dementia have a significant depression. So they may not want to eat. They may not want to do anything. You need to recognize that in them, and you may need to seek some help with a depressive disorder as well. Okay, so let's go on. I really do feel for the caretakers. Toughest job in the world is being a caretaker. Getting to communicate well with the person is one of the most difficult lessons to learn as a caretaker. And I'm sure that the nurses and the dementia units in the area and all have to go through their course to learn the basic way to communicate with the people with dementia. And so I am a big, big proponent of good communication with that person and how to achieve it. So I think we've kind of gone through a lot of the things with the dementia patient, especially now with exercise. We didn't talk about any of the other things for treatment, but daily exercise, you can't imagine the benefit that they can get at all stages of their dementia. This is Dr. C. I hope you have a nice day. Enjoy the spring.